Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Trinidad and Tobago joins India in its independence celebration. The Attorney General encourages and pleads with citizens to practice healthy and physical lifestyles. And scores of young persons throughout the country honored for their outstanding contributions. Thank you for joining us. Even as this country celebrates its independence anniversary on August 31st, Trinidad and Tobago joins India in its independence celebration as well. This year marks 65 years since India gained its independence, and in commemoration of this, the Indian High Commission will hold a series of events recognizing its achievement with focus on the life and times of freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi.
August will be celebrated as Freedom Month by the Indian High Commission here in Trinidad and Tobago. And in commemoration of this, the High Commission will host an art exhibition entitled Freedom to March, Rediscovering Gandhi Through Dandi at the Diwali Nagar site for the rest of the month. Indian High Commissioner Malay Misra says the month of freedom began with Emancipation Day on August 1st and also celebrates both India and Trinidad and Tobago's Independence Days. Speaking at the launch of the Exhibit 3, Malay Misra says focus will be placed on the impact freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi has had on not only India but the world.
The metaphor of Gandhi in today's society has to be realized because once you start a civil disobedience movement, it has a momentum of its own. It is not a question of rediscovering Gandhi or bringing Gandhi and judging his relevance to today's society. It is perhaps the question is how prepared are we to accept Gandhi in today's society, and whether the issues of contemporary society beckon an approach which Gandhi has given to us.
The exhibit will include 26 pieces of paintings, photography and sculptures celebrating the life and struggles Gandhi faced. Arts and Multiculturalism Minister Dr. Lincoln Douglas notes that Trinidad and Tobago could take a page out of his life and the message he represents.
Regardless of race, whatever that is, creed, color, ethnicity, class, or political allegiances. It was Mahatma Gandhi who said that a nation's culture resides in the hearts and in the soul of its people. Too often we think that the artifacts or the shade of our skin or the look of our face is what our culture is. But he knew that our culture is what's inside of us, the way we think, the way we believe, the way we understand the world.
In sharing similar sentiments over the life and impact Gandhi has had on all of us, Communications Minister Jamal Mohammed reminds of the power of influence we have at our fingertips today.
Could you imagine for a minute using what he had? He just had a little bit of radio, a little bit of television, newspapers were around. The actual thing was word of mouth and pass his message from one person to another. But could you imagine for a minute if Mahatma Gandhi had some new media like Facebook and Twitter and the internet? He could have revolutionized the world in 1 minute. Think about that. Think about what he achieved without the internet. And imagine for a moment what this great man could have done using the power of the internet and how he would have communicated his message not only to the people of India, but to the entire mankind, the whole world, and it would have made a difference.
Minister Mohammed adds that it's this kind of tolerance that made up part of Gandhi's message.
This essence of understanding that we may be different, have different views, have different ideas, ideologies, beliefs and practices, but we must learn to tolerate each other. And this is one of the things that our countries share, India and Trinidad and Tobago, our level of tolerance. And we have to make sure we can encourage the level of tolerance to the heights that Gandhiji envisaged and wanted us to achieve. It is part of our watchwords: discipline, tolerance, and production. Religious tolerance, cultural tolerance, understanding each other must take a high prominence in all our activities and all our beliefs.
To mark India's 65th independence anniversary, the Indian High Commission hoisted the Indian national flag at India House, Federation Park. During the month of August, a series of events will be held, including a food festival titled A Taste of India at the Hilton Trinidad from August 16 to 22nd, and a conference at UWI entitled Inheritance, Innovation and Continuity, 50 Years of India, Trinidad and Tobago Relations on August 17th and 18th, showcasing the links between both countries. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
There's a spark of greatness in each of us. That spark is called personality. Individual gifts and talents provide the fuel to set that spark ablaze. Each child has the right to an education which values their personality and nurtures their talents, while teaching them to be respectful to their parents and their cultures.
We are reporting from communities across the country. People are calling Nallis Libraries their library. Tell me, why is Nallis your library?
My library is where I can have fun learning.
My library is helping me earn better grades with online research resources.
My library is my gateway to the world of information.
My library is providing access to the differently able. As a visually impaired person, I can envision limitless possibilities.
My library is making my world truly worldwide with free internet access.
My library is helping me keep an eye on my health with access to the virtual health library via the Nallis website.
Nallis is my library.
Attorney General, the Honorable Anand Ram Logan, is encouraging and pleading with citizens to practice healthy and physical lifestyles so that they can enjoy a long and fruitful life. The AG was speaking at the consecration ceremony of life-size Murtis at the Edinburgh Temple in Chaguanas.
Edinburgh Temple in Chaguanas celebrated its 29th anniversary, and indeed it was a wonderful occasion for those in attendance. The temple also commemorated this country's 50 years of independence and paid tribute to the young devotees of the temple, those who have done exceptionally well in university. Speaking at the ceremony, Attorney General Anand Ram Logan says the single most important achievement in life after God should be that of a healthy mind in a healthy body.
Whilst we celebrate academic achievement, we have a tendency not to place any emphasis on physical achievement. I therefore want to urge upon you, Panditji, that this temple must not only help to slowly kill people with Karihim, Hamburg and Parasad, but they must also encourage a more healthy way of life. I therefore urge upon us that from next year when we celebrate 30 years, I will see some young men and women who have been celebrated because of their achievement in sports and because of the healthy lifestyle that they promote.
Chaguanas Mayor His Worship Orlando Nagesa also echoed similar sentiments. He noted that after undergoing open-heart surgery a few months ago, he realized that he needed to pay particular attention to his health. The mayor emphasized that now is the time to take care of our bodies.
And the professor came to my bed and said, Mr. Nagesa, your lifestyle was not good. The teeth that you have in your mouth, that teeth digs your grave. What he was saying, in other words, what you eat takes you to your grave, and the Attorney General emphasized that. So it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that we look after our health.
The Attorney General also paid tribute to TNT's Olympic gold medalist, Keshawn Walcott. The AG says this powerful achievement is a thrust towards nation building and development for the country.
We as a people have been given an enormous boost when we saw a young man, Keshawn Walcott, succeed in throwing that javelin. And we could not have gotten another gold medal after Hazy Crawford at a better time. As proud Trinbagonians, we all celebrate and stand in awe at his accomplishment.
Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Scores of young persons throughout various parts of the country were honored for their outstanding contributions in the fields of environmental excellence, media, visual and performing arts, among other areas at the National Youth Awards 2012. Speaking at the event was Minister of Gender, Youth and Child Development, the Honorable Marlene Kudry, who is underscoring government's commitment to invest heavily in the lives of the youth of this country.
As we look hopefully and confidentially to the future, that our government has been placing top priority on establishing more mechanisms for children and youth participation to ensure that their talents and dreams are realized and that they are given every opportunity to achieve their fullest potential. They are the future of Trinidad and Tobago, and what we do today will determine their tomorrow.
The Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development is proudly uniting with the national community to honor some exceptional young persons for their accomplishments. The ministry has, for the second time, hosted the National Youth Awards, which serve to pay tribute to the positive achievements of youth across the Twin Island Republic and in commemoration of International Youth Day, established by the United Nations. The Honorable Minister of Gender, Youth and Child Development, Marlene Kudry, says government also plans to focus on the development of various youth services in the country.
We are focusing on the institutional strengthening of our youth services, such as our district services, our youth development and apprenticeship centers, our youth placement services, and our youth resource and information services. The passing of the Children's Bill in Parliament was another critical move by the government to strengthen the legislative framework for the survival, protection and development of children.
Also speaking at the event was Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Roger Samuel, who is urging young persons to leave their mark in society. He says the youth of today can alter the future of the world, as he explained what should be their main objective.
Your mission, though, simply put, my dear young people, is to build a better world to live for yourselves and for future generations. You must enrich this country and this world by using your talents and skills in contributing to a quality of life that is consistent with a dignity befitting of the human being. And as we look around today, we recognize that what is on your shoulder, what is before you, are vast and great, and that you have what it takes to make this world a better world.
Meanwhile, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development, Sandra Jones, says the National Youth Awards were conceptualized with the main goal of showcasing and rewarding excellence in the nation's youth. She went on to explain the objectives of the initiative.
The key objectives of these awards are to provide national focus on the youths who are making significant contribution to the society, to create youth role models by highlighting the contributions of young achievers who contribute to nation building, to recognize and document the achievement of young people in identified areas and communities, to provide an opportunity to profile the work of community youth organizations who have contributed to supporting positive youth development, and to encourage other agencies and sectors to provide greater overall support to national youth development.
While recognizing the achievements of the youth at the National Youth Awards, the ministry also took the time to congratulate Olympic gold medalist Keyshawn Walcott on his historical achievement.
The nation has been given the opportunity to celebrate triumph. It is with tremendous pride that the ministry congratulates Keyshawn Walcott on his outstanding achievement. His success could not have come at a more apt time.
Verna Barath, News 4.
Sport is up next. Stay with us.
Honoring and respecting the elderly begins with you and me. And in the event of a disaster, your support before, during, and after will be critical to their well-being.
Build a support team where each member will have a specific task. Your team must include someone who is within easy reach of the elderly person. Make an evacuation plan and practice your plan. Stock up on special caregiving items such as incontinence items, cleaning and sanitizing supplies. Have on hand a minimum of 2 weeks supply of all essential medications. In the event of a disaster, accessing medication may become difficult. Keep testing and insulin supplies and do not require refrigeration for diabetics. Secure all medical supplies in a clean, waterproof, easy-to-carry container. Keep a list of medication, caregiving instruction, doctors' names, and contact information. In case an elderly person is relocated to a shelter, this information is vital to their continued care. Dehydration is a serious health problem for older adults. Store at least 1 gallon per person per day. Store at least 3 days' worth. Consider special dietary needs when stocking up on food supplies. Safeguard important documents and provide an ID bracelet or necklace to persons with special needs, such as persons with Alzheimer's disease. Remember, disaster readiness and preparedness begins with you and me.
A message from the Ministry of National Security, Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management.
Welcome back. Well, football features in our sportscast. Match day 10 of the Blink B-Mobile National Super League was affected by the weekend's heavy rain, which forced the rescheduling of 2 matches. Fortunately for the fans in the Eastern Borough, the highly anticipated clash between FC Santa Rosa and Westside Superstars suffered no such fate. Wayne Cunningham has the highlights from Arima.
Eastern outfit FC Santa Rosa was at home in Arima at the UTT ground when they faced Westside Superstars of the Northern Association in the Blink B-Mobile National Super League. Westside took the early attack to their opponents, but never really troubled Andrew Durant in the Santa Rosa goal. Keith Lucloy's men slowly got into the match, but their efforts also needed little attention from the goalkeeper. That's until the 9th minute, when Ian Allain's battling cross was perfectly met by Verlon Mills to make it 1-0 Santa Rosa. Mills with an expert piece of timing to beat Stefan Buckley in the Westside goal. Santa Rosa with a 1-0 lead going into the break. 13 minutes into the second half, it was all tied up. Kevon Villarreal releases Kareem Freitas with a through ball, and just like that, it's 1-1. Freitas getting the pass directly in his path from the former Puerto Rico Islanders midfielder and finishing well. Allain had a sharp chance to restore Santa Rosa's lead, but his shot went wide. Westside created the best chance for a winner following the Kareem Freitas corner, but Durant showed his worth with a fine save to keep the scores level. Berkeley also had to pull off a save in the dying stages from this half chance. There was no further scoring in this one. 1-1 the final score. The draw dropping Westside Superstars off the top of the standings to be replaced by Joe Public FC, who defeated Eagles 3-1. The result of the day was the upset by bottom club Beach United, who defeated Stokely Vale FC 3-2. But the Eastern County side stays at the foot of the table going into match day 11. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
News 4 continues.
Never leave items like MP3 players, portable DVD players, laptops and briefcases on view inside your vehicle. It is an open invitation for a thief. Don't leave them on show. If you cannot take them with you, place them in the trunk of your car. Remember, crime prevention is everyone's business. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
Thank you for staying with us. Electricity generated from solar energy and wind energy is the first project of its kind in this country, which will enable electricity bills to be much lower. The completion of the installation of the renewable energy technology took place at the Islamic Home for Children in Gasparillo, where a ceremony was held with Energy Minister, the Honorable Kevin Ramnarine, to mark the achievement.
The Islamic Children's Home, Rahman Drive, Bonaventure, Gasparillo, will no longer need to worry about high electricity bills. This, as Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine says, technologies including solar photovoltaic panels as well as a wind turbine have been installed in the new system to help conserve electricity at the facility. The facility was installed and commissioned by electricity producer Powergen on behalf of the Ministry of Energy and Energy Affairs. Minister Ramnarine says the projects are being commissioned to test the existing infrastructure of the country's existing power lines, which form the national grid, and ensure that it is suitable for such installations.
These technologies include a 2-kilowatt solar photovoltaic grid-tied, grid-integrated system and a wind turbine of similar capacity. This project is of great significance in that it has provided this home with the opportunity to reduce their energy bills by generating their own electricity with renewable energy technologies. This is the first time that both PV panels, photovoltaic panels, and a wind turbine generating electricity have been tied into the grid, into the national grid. What this means is that we are able to use the sun's energy and the wind's energy to produce electricity. Usually our electricity in Trinidad is of course generated by burning natural gas, but not in this instance. Just to let you know from a practical point of view what this means. If, for example, during the day, the home were to switch off all its lights, its air conditioning units and its computers, then the electricity from the PV panels and the wind turbine would actually move out from the home and is used by other consumers in the area. That's what I mean by being tied into the grid. So what this home is actually doing is generating power, very much like a power generation facility in Trinidad and Tobago.
He says a wind resource assessment program will also be installed on the east coast of Trinidad with a view to installing a wind farm in the area. Minister Ramnarine also cut the ribbon to open the refurbished library at the Children's Home. The refurbishment was sponsored by Petrotrin. Meanwhile, the Energy Minister says additional efforts by government will boost this country's energy resources.
We have also recently gained the consultancy services of an IDB-appointed specialist in the fields of renewable energy and energy efficiency who works closely with our officials and technocrats at the ministry to develop a comprehensive program for the implementation of renewable energy and energy efficiency technologies across the country. These efforts would again place Trinidad and Tobago as a world leader in the region, as a leader in the region and the world as regards energy.
Chairman of the Islamic Home for Children, Imran Khan, thanked the ministry and corporate sponsors for the assistance in making their work much easier.
We would like to especially thank all those stakeholders who have been involved. First and foremost, the Minister and the Ministry of Energy, but of course, those hardworking individuals whose efforts have gone into making this project a success. We speak of those persons from Petrotrin, from Powergen, from TNTech, and in fact, everyone who has had some input in one way or another.
Veena Bharath, News 4.
The Ministry of Health held its annual National Wellness Day on the weekend. The event was dubbed the healthiest day in the nation's history and was held at the Paddock, Queen's Park, Savannah, Port of Spain.
The National Wellness Day is part of the Ministry of Health's ongoing Fight the Fat campaign and its signature event in observation of Trinidad and Tobago's 50th anniversary of independence. Among the various activities on the day's itinerary was a Trini Food Makeover Cookout competition in which members of the public as well as the various regional health authorities competed for more than $35,000 in prizes. The cookout competition focused on promoting healthy cooking recipes and methods. The categories included vegetarian entrees, Indian cuisine, meats, healthy kiddie snacks, one-pot meals, and cutters. Persons at the event also received HIV testing, eye tests, blood pressure testing, and glucose testing. Patrons also took advantage of the aerobic sessions, spin, and Zumba warm-up exercises that were provided at the event. Speaking to the media, Health Minister Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan says the purpose of the event was to enlighten the public on the many diseases and health problems arising from unhealthy lifestyles. He says two things persons fail to take into consideration when consuming a meal is the amount of oil used in preparing the meal and the amount of harmful ingredients such as MSG, which is mostly found in fast foods. He says medical research proves these two ingredients cause many non-communicable diseases, including cardiovascular and kidney diseases. Minister Khan stresses that too much money is being spent in the national healthcare system on treatment of cardiovascular and kidney diseases as a result of unhealthy living. He warns it would only be a matter of time before the government would not be able to finance healthcare facilities to deal with such diseases. Persons willing to join the ministry's wellness campaign can do so by checking them out on Facebook, keyword TT Fight the Fat. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.